All right. There we go. Oh, interesting. All right. All right. Hold on. Uh, All right, kitties. And that I knew back then. Then try and act like this didn't happen. Move on with your friends like you ever had them. What are we doing? What are we talking about? I I've been really enjoying just starting with the money stuff, dude. I like money. Money, money, money. Indeed, Sonic, indeed. Good morning, brother. You ever had them? Yeah, I'm just kind of. We're going with the flow today. We are going with the flow. Well, I'm a VIP. You always have been. I'm surprised you didn't notice it yesterday. Yeah, brother. You base. I remember you asked me for it, and at that point you had been to like every stream so far. So, and it's not like you were a mod or anything. If you were a mod, I would have probably removed it. But nah, I'll let you keep your VIP. I don't think I even have a limit on how many VIP. I don't know if there is a limit. I'm sure there is. Ah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we're just. I like my eco watch, my economy watch. Just seeing what's going on in the world and just. I'm still kind of waking up a bit. I was like dead asleep. Hold on, I want to open my window. I know it's like cozier, but I want my window open. Nice. Uh I was talking to the family. I was talking to my mom, and man, we were just sitting and appreciating because we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary of when we moved into this house. And brother, let me tell you, it, it doesn't get it pretty much doesn't get better than this. There's some luxuries that I could ask for, but other than that, it is the sole reason I just really try to tell my friends, don't do not move into an apartment. Don't do it. Save up for a house. If you had to rent a house, like not being in control over the space is it's awful. It looks like a nice home from what I've seen. It is nice. It's it's enough. You know what I mean? Y'all never saw. That's the thing is you guys never saw the apartment. I've shown it on stream like on Street View, but like it is. I mean, when I say fucking quiet, it is fucking quiet, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I would trade it for nothing. Again, the only thing I could ask for is it to be more and like more luxuries, just shit I don't need, but I really want, sort of thing. And it's just a hell of a blessing, dude. I mean, just like from apartment to apartment, we went from a house to a pretty okay apartment to a very shit apartment. And then COVID hit, and for a lot of people, that was their nightmare. But for me, it was a fucking blessing. It was amazing. It gives me the peace. Like without this house, I wouldn't stream. You know, without all the hell and like nightmarish people around, like I wouldn't be doing this, which is like so. I'm so grateful with just within that. Like it's nuts. Man, COVID fucked my school so hard. Yeah, dude. Just our my buddy Aaron was in his I think it was his last year of high school, and yeah, no graduation, nothing. I mean, like it fucked over a lot of people, but you know, while some people get run over by it, that's been always one of those things that I really thank God for, and I thank my mom for, because like, dude, that is a skill and a trait that is so not talked about. Being able to adapt, right? Being able to be like, oh, my thing's doing that thing again. Hold on. Usually hitting the button fixes it. But like, dude, learning to adapt, being forced to suck shit And it's a balance, man. And again, without it, I mean, I wouldn't be doing this. Without, if I was just in a house the entire time and my life was comfortable, and I can't imagine what I would be doing, but it most likely wouldn't be this. Like that's the thing. Um like I literally, it's a scene so beyond like my comprehension. Like I literally can't think about it. I can't think of it. Just about to break. Like I Because the thing is that when I started streaming, I started it for two reasons. Was one, I was listening to a bunch of my friends say about all the things they wanted to do, and I'm like, well, there are things I want to do. How hard could they be? And I kind of did it out of spite, and then I just I started doing it every day, and I held myself to a standard. And sure, the standard has changed a bit over the years, but the mentality has also shifted, where we have been just like, dude, 3 years, dude. We're on our third or fourth year now. I don't even know. I think if I go back to I gotta find it. Hold on. Was it? No, it's too far back. I'm trying to find the first. I want to find the first one. Why can't I just search up like? Why can I not just search up filters? Oldest. Okay, there we go. December 9th, 2021. So we're on year number 4. Fucking insane, dude. 2021 was the first time, it was our first clip. I had streamed prior. Time flies. Dude, you have no idea. And that was a thing that like really blew my mind, was that like you can be doing so much shit and just not even realize it. And a lot has come out of it, right? I want to. What playlist are we even listening to? We're getting like all the mid 2000 songs. I want like so hard to find a playlist, man. But unless it's one of those things where it's like you pray and you pray and you pray for no struggle. You pray for peace, you pray for all this shit, but without struggle you'll never find peace. It's a really fucked up ooh la la, like, but it does make you really appreciate, because like, everyone has their own bullshit going on, their own trauma, their own shit. And I have mine. I know a lot of people have their own. Pretty much everyone does, but there are so many things that I think back on. I'm like, holy shit, that led to this. That equals this. It's like, like, and I'm still just like completely shattered on just like, holy fuck. Like, I can't even. Without this wouldn't have happened. Without that wouldn't have happened. If I didn't do this stupid thing, I wouldn't have been here. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of. It's made me a believer in something more than myself, for sure, because I've done it both ways. I've done it, in my opinion, what I thought was my own way, and I was basically tormented by every decision I made, and it sucked. But I learned a lot, that it was just like, hey man, when you let go, and you just live, and you just kind of give up a little bit. And that's such a weird, it's a hard thing to describe. Like, what do you mean give up? Like, don't try. Don't, it's like, it's not a lack of effort. It's just like, I talked about it briefly yesterday, is that like, we're trying at every young person, like between the ages of like 30 and like 16 now, are like, we're trying to do things the old way, right? And the old way is like how our parents lived, right? And at their time, they were trying to do things that their parents did, right? Every generation is something different. Everything is different. So it's like, if I was trying to do it like the older way, and then it kind of hits you that like, me, all my friends, we are all doing things our way, and it's, for lack of a better word, working, right? Either the money, the way you live, your family relations, something about it is like allowing you to continue and persist. Like, I can't imagine trying to explain streaming to like someone in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, if you were in the 70s or 80s and you tried explaining what streaming was, or what like content creation was, like, they had TV shows, but like, they didn't, there's no like frame of reference, you know what I mean? And it really is just like, wow. Um and like, I can't think about what's going to be the thing in the next decade. I can't think about what's going to be, whatever time period you were born into, that's what you're going to get set up for. And you almost have no control over it. I say almost, you absolutely have a control over your happiness and how much like faith you give it. But I also believe that there are things that are there to make you stronger. There's no struggle that God gives you that you can't handle. And anytime you feel lost, or like you don't know what the fuck is going on, you absolutely can find solace that you can do it. You and do I want, like, the shit I went through when I was a kid? Do I ever want to do that again? Absolutely not. Never again. But I did it. I made it. I survived. It was a fucking nail biter, but we did it, because it was without all that pressure. I don't think I ever would have chosen my own happiness. That is, it is so beyond, like, like, I've always been on this, like, choose your own happiness over anything. It's worth more than any amount of money that someone can give you. It's worth more than any amount of sex, drugs. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that compares to finding, like, and that was always something that was a very core to me, because it was just like, without being in a space that I'm happy in, I can't do anything. I could be forced to do something, and a lot of the times it was very much not making me happy, and it was just like, dude, it's a balance, man. And like, sometimes you'll get flare ups of just like, or at least I do for sure. Like, I'll get like vivid memories, or like almost, like PTSD. I hate to use that word, but like, of just like, and I'll get like panic attacks, and but it's just like, but it comes from somewhere that you're just like, you know what, I can handle it. I've done it before. I can do it again. I believe in myself. I believe in something more than myself. I believe that there is something to this. There always will be. There always has been. Because I can think back before, like, I was like, I could consider myself like a believer, and I'm like, that led to that. That did that. I said this, which led to this, and there were a lot of decisions within that that I had no control over, mainly like of other people making decisions for me, that I'm like, where I can almost go like, wow, that was entirely out of character for what they did. And I have a good memory of a lot of this shit. And without them doing that, or doing something that hurt me, or whatever, just something along those lines, whatever they were thinking, like, led to something, just something else. It just led somewhere else. It led somewhere differently. Um, and without it, I wouldn't be here. Like, not necessarily, but like, I wouldn't be sitting here, like, doing this. And I, you don't even know. You have no idea. If you think you do, you don't. If you, without true sadness, you can never be truly happy. To an extent, yes, it is. It's a, it's humbling. It's like, there's no correct way to just say it. It's humbling. I mean, it's just like, holy shit. There's so much more than this, like, there's so much more than like physical and mental. It just physical things, like, right? I can't even put it into words to like order it, right? And to make it sound coherent, because a lot of the times it isn't coherent. A lot of the times it's a mess, and you can't make sense of it. Or, like, when I say you, I'm meaning myself. Like, I can't make sense of it, and a lot of the times I'll just give up on trying to understand it. And you you have to be okay with that, um because I know when I'm struggling and I'm like fighting emotions in my head, like, like, I'll do it, like, sometimes at night, when I'm like, the day's over, your friends are all gone to bed, and like, sometimes I'll think about, like, I feel lonely, or I feel sad, or just something along those lines, and you're just like, you have to find solace somewhere, or something, right? And when you have nothing to fall back on, then you're just like, because like, the thing is that, like, I f- if I have nothing to fall back on, the last thing I fall back on is my experiences. And now, when we had our talk on Friday, it was like, the one person who would understand the most showed up. What I was talking about, and he hasn't been in the streams for a while. I'm finishing this thought, and it was literally just like, why him? I mean, thank you for letting it be him, but out of every one of my friends who showed up, happy birthday, VJam. Oh, hold on. And it always shows up when either you need it or you need a sign or you need something more. I'm gonna do one black jump for raw chicken or the one black vertical jump for the raw beef. Raw beef. Raw beef. It gives you more hearts. But I don't know. I'm not really in that mind space right now. I'm I'm just kind of I'm doing like some reflections right now cuz things are tricky. I won't say they're difficult. We're having a mature conversation. It's fine. There are conversations that are going to be just hard to navigate even in the best scenarios. But I think if I had a goal or if like I could think of what the goal could be for what the streams are is um is providing a space to have those discussions. I know VJam's been here for a lot of them, and for whenever people need them, they're here. You can ask those questions, you can do those things. And I noticed that a lot on Twitch where people are like giving advice, like air quotes. It's not about advice. It's not about what should I do right now? What am I doing with my time? What am I doing? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Someone has to have an answer, and it's not going to be me, right? You're still true to that, and you used to follow that idea then as well. It's a core being thing. It's like when you have trauma, and everyone does, you are going to have those experiences. You're going to have those conversations. You're going to create those spaces, right? I remember I remember I remember seeing a video. It was like this person like was taking donations for to give advice, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's low." To me at least, that felt low. I'm like, "You don't take someone's money when they're desperate. You don't take something from you." That's the thing. Like that's the thing that I've been slowly learning is that you can't take somebody who's willing to give up something, right? Because greedy people don't know when to stop, right? And they might not even know they're greedy. And when I saw that stream, I'm like, dude, there's like 4,000 people here, and you get 1% of those people that are donating or asking questions. It's still 400 people, and 1% of that is 40. Even then, you're just like, if it's more than one, if it's more than zero, like even like license, I feel like even like the term of like licensed psychiatry and like the guy who's like the therapist on Twitch, like at least he's licensed, but I still think it's just like you can't tell people how to live their lives. And even in the worst scenarios, I mean, I can tell you all day long to stop doing things that hurt you and hurt other people, but are you going to stop? No, you need a change of pace. You need something to happen to you to make you stop. And that's the thing about other people, is that you think they have so much influence. Nerd. You think they have so much influence over you. Saw someone have like 60K viewers and they responded to all the donation messages. And that's the thing, right? Even if we never get to the high watcher, it's like even if we never get to that point of those numbers, right? It doesn't matter. I can't tell people to live a certain way. It's impossible. I can't do it as another human. I can only tell you experiences. And again, that's why like if I had to like say anything, and I know it doesn't sound, it's like, to me when I say it out loud it doesn't sound right, but it's like, anybody who's struggling, like, look beyond yourself. Look beyond look beyond what you're doing. Look at what you've done. There's something more. There's something hidden within the between the lines. There's always something more. There's something more. There's more sadness, there's more heartache, there's more joy, there's more just anything. There's something more. And it's out of your control. And you don't have any say in it. And again, and like to kind of circle it back to where this started, is that's where like a faith comes into play. Like you need it's I don't want to say need, but you'll find it if you're looking for it, right? I was looking for it actively and subconsciously. I didn't know it, but I was. I've always been just in a way like there's no way it's just this. I can front check it. Vertical jump for raw beef. See, that's what I said, but apparently that's wrong. But but oh, Watcher, you didn't have to. We love Watcher. Watcher's the greatest homie. Period. Raw chicken kills. Raw chicken does kill. But yeah, I like our like deep thought. It's but I want to say like most of these, if not all of the ones we've done prior and in the future, they're mainly conversations I'm having with myself that I want to there's or just say to someone or something in some way. But it is like I had this conversation with my mom today where we talked about it, and it was just like, like, how do you make God laugh? You tell him your plans, because whatever you think you're going to do, it's I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but there's a version of it that will happen, and it's not going to be what you want. It's not going to be with what you expect. It's not going to be. It might not even bring you joy. It might bring you. It might not. It might be exactly what you wanted, but there are going to be pieces within it that aren't what you want. That aren't the way you thought it was going to be, and there is nothing you can do about it. And to a lot of people, and I know that I've been in that situation where I'm like, dude, I don't get it. It makes no sense. I work so harder and harder and harder and over and over and over again, and I keep not succeeding in a space where I've worked so hard. And it wasn't until last year, where I finally went, you know what? Maybe I'm not supposed to get it. Maybe I'm not supposed to understand. Because I would say, why me? Why can't this work? I've put years into it. And it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Why don't I work? You know, like you're literally just going like, why don't I work? Why am I broken? But that's not the question, right? It's why do you think this is the way? And does it make you happy? What within it makes you happy? Maybe there's an underlying cause for it that you think, cuz like this is why I like the money stuff. This is why, cuz like there are things within it that I like, right? But there's a big wall that I can't make sense of. I've been doing this since I was 18, right? And I'm going to be 25 in April. And I've had success and I've had failures, and I've had a lot of failures. I've had a good amount of successes and I've had a lot of failures, but I always end back at the same spot. Literally, like there's no amount of money I made that didn't get me back here. And that is scary. That's really scary because you're just like, wow, what do I do? And the thing is like you don't have to do anything. And I'm not saying sit on your ass, but in a way I kind of am saying sit on your ass and do nothing. Seriously, because the way I found out was, you do nothing for so long, something like clicks in your head, and you're just like, huh, I didn't see it like that. I refuse. And you can just you will find your way. You will find your way. You will figure it out. You will do things your way. You will just follow a path that is more than yourself. And fuck your cheap your hammer. But yeah, like your path is your own. Banish thy bot. And I enjoy sharing these experiences with you, but I'm walking as I share these with you. I'm walking a fine line of like I'm not telling you should or you need to do anything. You don't. And if anybody tells you should do something, anyone says you need to do something, look beyond, right? Oh, Watcher, you're too generous. Whatever, nerd. Damn. I love you, Watcher. I really do, and I never won't. And I think that's the thing that's at least in my feeling, I'm like that's the thing that's really missing from people is that because I'm taking this from my mom, right? I had like obviously you have two parents, everyone does. Either they're dead or they're not there or they're with you, right? But everyone has two parents. It always starts somewhere. Ignore the ones that tell you what to do, Max. My boss on work. See, that's the thing is that it's hard with physical things, right? With physical barriers, right? But the beauty of a physical barrier, there's always a way around it. There's something beyond what you see. There's something beyond what you hear. There's something that makes no sense whatsoever and would be called crazy lunacy. Just it won't make sense. And it's going to be scary and dark and not everything is going to make sense. Nothing will make sense, but it's those singular steps that those little inklings of pushing that will be more enlightening to your life and and just your physicality than you can even imagine, because there's going to be a day when you are just at the end of the here's the thing, at the end of the day, when you're 30, 40 years down the line, you're not going to think about the thing your boss said today. And if you do, it meant something more, right? But a lot of the times, at least from my experiences, I don't remember certain things that people said to me. I remember the way it made me feel, right? I remember feelings. And if it ever gets brought up again in a reality sense, then I remember the words, right? And I've talked about it with like relationship shit. Like I've broken it down into one phrase, which is it's more black and white than it could possibly be. Is like if I ever hear it from somebody, I just stay away from them. Is usually, and if I'm intimate in some way, it's the phrase is, "I like seeing you angry," and it's just like that is black and white as it gets. I still remember stuff people said to me when I was 8, and there's something, but there's always something more. There's something beyond this, and it's like even if you're not spiritual or you just don't see it that way, like I wasn't either. It's just like there's no. I'm trying to find the words to make it make sense, and I can't. I want to so badly, and I can't do it. I want to so badly, and I yearn for just these perspectives. I want my eyes to be opened. I want to see these things because I've had a lot of the bad stuff. And time for another banger stream in a minute. I'd be on the lurk from now. For sure, King, for sure. I'll be sure to lurk in your shit. And because I know the way, like even just seeing certain things, like I like one thing that I think of immediately is cars. It, don't roll. Is cars. I love cars. I've loved the feeling I get from even just staring at rolling sculpture, right? The sound, the noise, the smell, you know, the experiences, the things that it's a group effort thing too because like my friends share these experiences with me. It's a what cars do you like? If it runs and drives. I'm not you I we could be we'll literally be here all day if I try and think of everything. I've had a list on my phone that I've had through 3 phones about like what cars I want to get in the future, what I want to be driving. Because the other thing is, I really want to do. I've always wanted to do content revolving around cars. I like the stuff that we do on stream. I really do. I'm not saying I don't. And I love the stuff more when I do it with my friends. And the thing is that cars have brought the my entire group together. It always has and it always will be. Cars and racing have been the two things that have just brought everybody, regardless of religious differences, political differences, gender differences. It just brings us all together. Don't know why, don't know how, but it does. And we all have our own thing within it that is respected to us, right? A lot of my friends are racing drivers. A lot of my friends like drive really nice cars, not into cars and races. And that's fine. Not everyone is. And like Aiden is another he wants to do car like content. Like he's wanted to do YouTube video and he used to in the past. And that's a funny thing you said soon. I love that word. I love that word soon. And 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 that's fine. Cars can be A to B. Like, that is perfectly fine. And now we live in a time where you don't need to give a shit about a car. We do. But if you were living, like, imagine living in the 90s or the 80s. Like, you're still going to have to get a car to do maintenance on. You're still going to have to get a car to, like, look after. Now, you get a Tesla, and it doesn't fucking matter. It literally doesn't matter. It is just the fucking done. Like, it is a mode of transportation. I don't have to fill it up with gas. I barely need to focus on where I park it. All I need to know is don't leave shit visible in the window or someone will smash it. And that it's the perfect car if you don't give a shit. If you don't care about cars, get a Tesla. Just don't pay for just there's a bunch within it, but you know. And the thing about the word soon is I love it because in again, it's not something you can control. It's not something the word soon it happens at God's pace. You know, it happens at whatever the hell he decides to be. And it could be now, it could be tomorrow. Like someone could drop like a tow truck could drop off a fucking car in a flatbed and just said, "Hey, you want it?" It's unlikely, but you know, Teslas are expensive. They're getting cheaper. You get a fucking used Model Y for like 20 grand. Are you kidding me? Like it'll start deteriorating, but then you just throw it away. It's literally an appliance. The thing about electric cars is they're an appliance. It doesn't matter. They'll degrade. They'll degrade over time. And like I live in America, right? We have a lot of options for electric cars. Cheap electric cars. You can get a first gen Nissan Leaf. Computer's 100K. Is 1K bucks from 1920. In America, if I didn't give a shit, I could get a Nissan Leaf first gen for like 4 grand, which is a lot. Which is a lot, but people have more expensive computers than that, you know. Um computers 100 bucks 2020. Oh, dude, computers were worth more than homes in the 19 or like I didn't realize you were trying to talk about years. Dude, in 1920 a computer we didn't even know what that meant. An IBM computer from the 60s back then was worth more than homes. They were worth more than houses. It was insane how expensive technology was. And in 2020, like same story with cars. See, the thing is, no. In the back, it's actually reversed. So pre-war, pre-military, like pre-World War One, pre-World War Two, pre-World War Two is when cars started to be like, okay, they're here to stay. I meant the Tesla. When cars were here to stay, there were Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Hispano Suezas, Alfa Romeos, uh, uh, Cadillac. I think Chrysler was another one. These big companies, and they made really expensive cars, And then Ford came out with the Model T. It was $400. You could buy a Ford Model T for $400, brand new from a showroom, and it gave the mode of transportation to everybody. Now that sounds like a lot. That sounds like, but you have to think at the time that a home was like $1,000. A house was like $2,000. Because in the '60s, like I mean, like a '60s, '50s, homes were still like sub $20,000 for a home. Like $20,000-$30,000 for a home, and you could buy a car for fucking nothing. But it was like the thing is like at the time it was like you just give this opportunity to so many people who can't afford it. And that's the thing with electric cars right now is that like is we're going in the wrong direction in my opinion with the electric car is that they're trying to make it more luxurious, more spacious, more for the upper echelon people. But Tesla's just like I'm using that as a frame more as a point of reference is that they started the same way. A Model S was like $100,000. A Model X was like $120,000. And then they came out with the Model 3, which is now like a $30,000-$40,000 car, which is a lot. But when you imagine that someone is but that can't you have to think about what it came with. It came with a full bumper to bumper warranty for like 5 years. and they will fix literally anything on the car if it's under warranty for no cost to you. That was massive, massive. So it's like if you got into a fender bender or like one of the computers stopped working, right? You could take it to a Tesla dealership and they would take care of it completely. I've seen stories of Teslas that are under warranty and the back of the seats ripped, the doors don't open, something along those lines, and they take it in, no cost. No cost to them if it's under warranty. And it's a massive game changer. Massive. But when those cars fall out of warranty, then it starts getting it. Then it's expensive. It's expensive then. But if you buy one new, that's the thing that makes it really important. And I really think Tesla should. I don't know if they do or don't, but they should offer secondary warranties for if you buy a used Tesla, you should be able to go to the Tesla website or the Tesla dealer and be like, "Hey, I want to buy a 5-year warranty for my car for probably like $10,000, right?" And it will literally cover the entire car for 5 years for $10,000. Like, it's a lot of there's a lot of that, and I think there's a space for that in the world, but like I love, but that's the thing. I love cars. I want unreliable shit. I want old stuff, not like pre-war shit, but I want stuff from like the 80s. I want stuff from the 90s. I want, you know, Mercedes, Fords, Ferraris, I want those things because it's not because the monetary thing it's the way they make me feel. When I saw when you see something and it could be more than just a car, it could be a painting, it could be a house, it could be just something that someone had made, right? Someone, it has a creator, right? Someone made it, someone built it, someone designed it, right? It could be anything from a computer to clothes to shoes, purses. It doesn't matter. They help you talk about plans and costs, but prices are like $80 per time. I should go each 3 months because of my past had bad teeth. And the thing is that when I watch people on you like my go-to car YouTuber right now is Doug DeMuro, and I respect his taste in cars. I respect like how he navigates the space, but the only thing I don't quite, and respect is a soft word, like, or like a stronger word for this. But the thing is is that he doesn't buy cars because he wants them. He does have cars that he wants, that he wanted, but the thing is they have to be a certain way. They have to do a certain thing. They have to scratch a certain itch. And that's the part where I'm like, but if it's something you want, then it doesn't matter, doesn't it not? And but to some people, like if I had one of those discussions with someone like him, I feel like I could get a much clearer perspective on this, but I'm only going off of what I've seen on YouTube. And the thing is that like I could buy like the worst version of a vehicle, but if it's the one I want, there's something that will keep it in my life. Or like at the very least, I've always told myself that I'd like, if I can sit and stare at it and appreciate the rolling sculpture and just the way it makes you feel, because like there's a car that popped into my head immediately about like I look at it, I know it's bad. I know it's bad, and it's like top upper echelon of like if I get this vehicle, like I could afford a Toyota. If I could, I would. Ooh, if I could afford a Toyota Supra. And that's the thing. And you could either be talking about the new one or the one from the 90s, and I would, or the one from the 80s or the 70s. Like I would understand completely. Like it's just like the thing is that like my the thing is that when you see it for the first time, you're like, whoa. First 3 years no cheap. My real mom didn't know how to raise a kid, so my teeth was black. Like then knew how to raise a kid, but still weak teeth. Dental stuff is so. Mm, I don't even know how to describe it. That's why I have weaker teeth. I need to go each 3 months. Damn. I'm sorry to hear that. But rem- I want to keep staying on. I want to keep staying on this mental. But like your, it's all about the way it makes you feel. And I think the thing is that what I'm learning. I think the thing is, it's always going to be about the way you feel. It's always going to be about the way something makes you feel. It's always going to be about the emotion, the passion, the the thing that keeps you around, that gets you to stay. And right, that's the. I mean, like on a smaller scale, like that's why I play War Thunder so much. Is that like the way it makes me feel, the things I get out of it are more than I could expect, and it keeps me around. It's like you could call it like a drug or whatever, and there's always a bad way to frame it, but there's always something there. There's something there, and the thing I feel like I bug my friends about is that like whenever I try not to complain about cars. I try not to complain about like not having a car but because it's like I still have yet to buy my first car because it's just like one, I've never had the money for it, but it's just it's not time, right? It's not whatever it is, it's not time, and that's okay. Do you have a license? I do have a license. I do. That was a big one. That was a big one that what I say, like myself and God got through, and it was one of those things where I never thought I would need it. And it's like, how can you say that you never needed a license even though you love cars so much? It was just like, it was a bunch of shit. It was like, but now it's turned into like, well, like it's just like I've never had the money for it. And the thing is that like the cheapest, damn, go get yourself a car, even a not so good one. Start driving. The thing is it doesn't feel right, and that's the best way. And it's not a good answer to a lot of people, but it doesn't feel right. I look at older stuff, I look at cheaper stuff, and it just doesn't. It doesn't hit. And it's one of those things where it's like you don't know, right? Like my mom lets me drive her car, but like it's not mine, right? You'll know the day. I don't care. Do you think I'm like that's the thing? It's like I'm dumb enough and daring enough to be like, I want to I would love to fix a Ferrari. I would love to get into like taking something like that expensive apart because of my half eyesight. I think they'd still let you drive. In America, they would. Shockingly, in America, I think they'd still let you drive because they let people with one eye still drive. But at least you live in a place with good public transit. That's it. If you lived in America, you'd be screwed. But and that's the thing. I don't care about repairs. I don't think about repairs. I think about the way it makes me feel. And if a car makes me angry that it's broken, you know what I mean? If a car makes me pissed off that it's just like it's not the way it should be, that it's something about it breaks or something. It's like a great a car that I saw a guy review that I thought was really like he got it. Like it made sense. The only bad thing about my life is my past. Besides that, life's quite good. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I am. And I can probably, I can say that I'm always praying for you. I'm rooting for your growth, and that goes for everybody. Like anybody that stumbles upon this space for whatever reason. I got my I got my health test done today. I can see past 20 meters, and I passed. I can start my license tomorrow, maybe. That's exciting. That's exciting. And the thing about the license stuff is that like I was so scared, but it was like the amount of freedom, the feeling that I got from it was like, wow, it's finally over. It was such a big step. Now we're going to buy a car. And the thing is that I think the thing is that the way I view greed, the way I view money, monetary, anything along those lines, is that like I don't think I would fully appreciate it if I had it immediately when I snap my fingers, and it would affect the way other things are going on in my life. And it's one of those things where it's like you think about that phrase like money doesn't buy happiness, right? But there's no better way to explain it because it really is just like when, right? If the stars align, if that's what God wanted, I would be a millionaire by now. You know what I mean? Seriously, like I see this all the time with these like motivation gurus, like wealth and finance gurus. It's you. At the end of the day, it's you. It's you. It's you and it's you and God, you and the universe. If you are not ready, it will not happen. If you are in your own way, if you think things like this, it won't happen. And that's not like a deterrent. It's just that if you are dreaming of bigger things and you are believing in bigger things, you will get them, but you have to be willing to be patient. I got an issue with that kind of stuff. I do too, because it's just like they tell you over and over and over and over again, it's your fault. You need to work harder. You're not getting scared enough. You're not doing this enough. You're a weak person. And the thing is that like whenever I hear and it's like they're yelling at you, and it's just like I look at myself and I'm like, I know me. I know me. I'm not gonna say I'm stronger or better than anybody, but I know me. Right? And that's as far as it goes. I know me. And I could. It's like, dude, it's one of those things where it's like I could have started a fucking t-shirt business when I started streaming. I could have streamed every day from like fucking 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 12-hour streams every goddamn day, but it was unsustainable. I couldn't do it. It didn't make me happy, you know. Watching lately motivating workout channel on YouTube, and I want to work on myself, but I'm not in a clear mindset to focus on it and or forget it. That's okay. I'm, that what you just said is so important to you. That is a really amazing, like, I felt myself in that, right? Like, that is that realization is worth more. Oh my god, luckily I'm not trading SPX today. Laura, don't forget to thank Watcher. He gifted subs. He was very generous. Yeah, today's been crazy. But like, wait, what? Yeah, you got some jorts now, kid. But you know what I mean? Like, that is a very important thing that you realize. I don't see a sub badge. Oh, what? I see it. You got a pair of red jorts next to your name. Oh, I refreshed. But go at your own pace, VJam. Is he here? He was lurking. He started streaming. But yeah, go at your own pace, VJam. Do you like when I tell you? Like I've told you, it's like you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and you are, and you're doing it your way, and you're going. And like that's the thing. There's no one that's gonna be able to tell you how to do something specifically, right? Working out, fucking finance. But there are things that are going to be real to you. There are going to be truths to you, right? Again, like I just finished watching like David Dobrik's body transformation, and don't get me wrong, it's an amazing transformation. But they're like 75 days, and now he went from 20% body fat to 30%. And I'm like, no, bro. I meant more like, how do I do it? I want to do it every day, but I don't know when to and the time and such. And you'll figure it out. Not knowing where to start is a place to start. And that might not be the answer you want, but that is kind of true. That like no one just jump. I didn't. I didn't just jump into working out. I just was trying to find something to start with, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I wanted to change, right? And I think for a lot of people, that's as far as it needs to go. Is that like you want to change, you want to be better, and that is it was it's everything. It's everything just to figure out what's real to you. And you know because for me, like I thought about like I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna go do it every single day for an hour, every single day. And I'm like, first of all, I never wanted to. It's will or want to. And you'll figure out things that are unsustainable. You'll figure out things that just don't make sense to you, and it's a bunch. It's a lot of stuff. I wish there was a one word answer, dude. Oh my god, I really do. I wish there was just like a magic notebook or a fucking scoreboard, just going like, all right, this is how you do that. That's how you do that. No, you have to do the thing first, and then be like, okay, that didn't work. But now we have a new starting point. So we start from here and we go there. That didn't work. Okay, well now we have a new starting point. So let's start here to go there. Roads less traveled and whatnot. Struggle is part of life. Struggle is a part of everyone's life. And however much struggle you are dealt, there is an equal amount of blessings that will come from it. Right? If not more. But you have to believe. You have to believe that. You have to have faith in that. And I'm not talking about like a faith in a higher power or like God or whatever you choose it to be. You have to have faith in the unknown. That everything has a purpose, everything will make sense later down the line, but you have to have faith. You have to believe in things you don't see. And if that's like you don't see changes in your body when you've been working out for 6 months, You don't see changes in your bank account, even though you've been working every day of your life. Um, you don't see changes in your mindset. One day, it just you. It's those little days, those little moments that are so. It's really important to just. You'll figure it out. You'll find those people. You're welcome. Gamer, 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 gamer. But yeah, I thanked him on his stream already. But thank you times two. George, tell Laura she's special. Laura, you are very special. But yeah, man, like Max is going to watch Minecraft Parkour Civ. No, I can't watch YouTube videos anymore on stream. I can't do it because I got copyright striked on my on the VOD channel. I can't do it. Like even if I want to watch something, I can't because I don't want that YouTube channel to get banned. It's a very fine line. It's really annoying. It's amazing to me that I got copyright striked on a VOD that had one view. It was one video with one view, and it was a build of it was a build of a whatchamacallit, a fucking uh Mitsubishi Evo. Then don't put it on the VOD channel. No, that's not having. I like having. See, the thing is that like, okay, if you go to the VOD channel, you can go back and watch all of our streams. That's why I like it. So I feel like you're missing out on something if I don't upload the VOD channel. Because if you want to, like, if you remember a stream or something from like a certain date, and I know some people out there can do that. Like they'll be like, oh, like Wednesday the 22nd, this like 2 years ago. I remember I was there for this stream for this moment. You can go back, and they're all like dated. That's the thing. They're all dated. They're all archived. So if you decide that one day you want to watch like one of our older streams, you can. Oh god, like the only thing I wish was that I started doing that when I started streaming because I didn't realize at the time that the VODs get deleted after 3 months. Remember your Nuzlocke and BDSP when I said do this, but you ignored it and almost failed, but until I saved you again. I think that stream is. I think I don't even remember. What is our first stream? I don't even know. Our first VOD was from July 11th, 2022. Oh yeah, they're also like not only are they dated, they're categorized. So like Shiny Hunting Fall Guy. Oh man. We were in the other room too, so like that is another thing. God damn. It's cool to go back and look because another thing is that like I get to see what I looked like. At least for me physically, I get to see what I looked like. So that's always fun. But yeah, if you guys ever wanted to go back and watch the stream from 2022, July 2022, you can. Like the same like this stream's going to be uploaded after like every day after stream. The first stream is forgotten in time. It's really tragic. I didn't have the foresight to record it, but We do have clip. We have a clip from the first from our one of our first streams. That our first clip ever is from our fourth stream. So you just need to backpedal 3 or 4 days. So it's tragic, but it is some there is something which is good, as long as there's something. But without recording the streams, it made me realize that like the importance of archiving them. You know, giving not just myself but you guys the ability to go back and find a moment that you wanted to see, right? And those are huge, right? Like those are huge. Like that's big to me, at least. Like that means a lot to me. That like you guys can have and myself can have the opportunity. I do think that's important, yeah. Because one day, hopefully not soon, like a natural thing is that it will come to an end, right? As much as it hurts to even think of it and say it, we're a long way from it, by the way. It's not happening anytime soon. There will be a last stream. It happens to everybody. It's one last video, one last stream. Like and you're starting to see it more frequently now. Like the most recent one that I saw was let me see if he actually do it? Oh, I thought he did. I was seeing posts that like Demolition Ranch is stopping YouTube. But it's like, oh shit. Well, I just closed my chat. Whoopsies. But nah, max streams till he's 110. I would love to do this till the day I die. But even then, there will be a time when without me it will end. Without me it will end at some point, or I'll hand it off. Dude, that would be so cool to hand it off to your kid, right? And it might be like that. I don't know. Like, oh, dude, I'm. It's so bad. Instagram has been like recommending me like cute parent posts with their kids, and as I've been getting older, I'm like, oh my god, I want a child. I want a little version of me, like really badly. And it was like there was a point in my life where I hated kids. I hated the thought of kids. I hated the fact that I could be a dad someday. It really was not something I yearned for, but now it's like, shit. It's that same mentality of like, oh, you buy expensive cars, you're going to have expensive repairs, right? You're not buying it to fix it. You're buying it to experience it. I hate that my phone controls the volume of this fucking goddamn Spotify. It's the same thing with a kid, right? I do pray that one it just because of the way I was raised and the way like my family was, it's got to be the right woman. Like it's like I have zero it is not happening, like never doing the divorce thing, never doing like if I'm like locked down, that's it. That's it. Like I'm not doing like I've always hated, and like even as I was younger, I always hated that like mindset of like, oh, you want to be with one person for the rest of your life? Imagine sleeping with the same person for the rest. I'm like, that sounds amazing to me. Just like your best friend that you're raising another person with, like is like I can't imagine a better situation. And I understand that it's just like a big reason for a lot of people not wanting kids is like, oh, it's a hassle. Oh, it's like I can't afford it. There's no there's no child that is born that isn't a blessing, right? Even though it's not seen, the thing is that there are horror stories, right? I'm sadly aware of this because my mom loves watching Dateline, and that shit needs to be studied. What is it about women and watching the most heinous shit that happens to people? They find it fascinating. Like, but I just am like I think about it and I'm like it's two feelings. It's like, oh, that feel like I want it to be special, right? But it's terrifying, because there's so much around it that, but it's like it's indescribable thoughts that like or like not. It's hard to put words to them, right? I will say I am lucky enough to just not have made a mistake like that in my past. Like like there was a reason for not doing certain things, right? All that shit. And I'm just like, you know what? Right now, it's about me, right? It's about, and if you're thinking, is like, it's about you. If you're in this thought process, like, it's about you. Make you number one. Do just let go, feel it out. Be willing to change. Be willing to accept blessings. Be willing to tackle the life you have been given head on. And it's a lot. I wish to share my life with someone too because I'm loyal and more. But, people just push me aside because they think they can get better when I'm basically the best. Not ego, just saying that. You know what I mean? And those are the hard lessons that happen. And we talk. I mean, I feel like we talk about relationships all the time, but I know if I had to think about it in a way, at the very least, right? If I had to think about it in a way that doesn't frustrate the hell out of me, is there's clearly more for me to develop, right? There's more for me to learn. There's more for me to adapt. There's more for me that should be worked on. And and if someone comes into my life, right? And they are who they are, right? I will I want to take it two ways. Is that this is a test. This is something for you to grow, and I just want to do my best. I want to say it's like I want to say the right things. I want to be the right version of myself. And it's really hard to do that. It's really hard because I think I'm like I'm like I just said something so stupid. You know? You ever talk to a girl and you're just like, why did I say that? 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 Especially like through text, and you're just like, ah, I could have said that better. Ah, they're gonna think I'm weird, which is all natural. It's all the same thing, right? It's a part of the process. It's a part of the process, and you're just like, I do just sit there sometimes and go like, man, I really wish I could have said that better. I wish I could have take that. I wish I could have said something. That's just you. No, no, it's not. I know it's not. That is a common feeling, and you will not tell me otherwise. Like, people say stupid shit all the time. I've seen women have thoughts like that. It's not just me, but the same thing with everything is that all I care about is that like I learned from it. I mean, that's just you inner. I know it is my inner self because the thing is that when I'm interacting with somebody, even like male friends, right? Even my boys, right? I'll sometimes just go like, why did I say it like that? It's not until things it's so one thing that I'm realizing is that like it's the softer situations that I I feel like I bring a level of intensity to that is not quite necessary because I've had situations in the past and some more recent than others where you're helping a friend or you're talking to your group of friends that you need to be like the rock. I got that too, but I'm more like that's just me. If she doesn't like it, then she isn't worth it. And there are places for those thoughts, right? There is a space for those thoughts. And I do just think I'm like I should be or I want to be better. I always am like there's something for me to like I said I think the thing I just said was really important to me was that like I feel like I could be softer in some less serious situations because I feel like when shit gets bad, when shit gets scary, when shit turns into like I need a friend, like I need someone to talk to because you shouldn't change for someone else, but I do want to be my best someone for someone else. It's a fucked up catch 22. But I think that's what a lot of people want for themselves is they really want to be the best version of themselves but not changing what makes them happy. I think that's the best way to explain it. Is what you can't take away core principles from themselves because that's what makes you you. And if they and it literally can be anything from like the shoes you wear to like the actions you do. Now, I will say there are destructive things that they want you to change because it's better for you and they want you to be healthy. Like if you're a drug addict or you're like addicted to substances, addicted to porn, like you just have an addiction of some kind or like you're hurting yourself in some way and they want you to get better, right? There is that kind of love out there, and it is something that is to consider. But for a lot of people, it is you. But you know what I mean. It's like I told this story the other day about the girl who was like hell bent on like she hated my shoes, and it was something. That's what I'm saying. Like that's where it can start from. It's so small, and I'm like, they're comfortable like was going to say the destructing yourself is good to rebuild yourself, not that kind. Yes, breaking yourself down is is a natural part, but like drugs and like things you can't come back from are you know what they are. You know what they are. Whatever they are to you, you know what it is. Sex, drugs, those are the two big ones that I think of. Greed, workaholic, like things that can take on a life of its own. But like if you're injuring yourself through working out, like you pull a muscle or you tear a muscle, you have to rest. You've broken yourself, but you will heal and then get better and then, like in a physical sense. And in a mental sense, like you're in a relationship, you want to be with somebody, you care about them, and they leave you and they hurt you, but that's only to prep you and to make sure that you are number one. You know what you need, you know what you want, and it is really tricky to get those things down. I mean, I'm gonna be 25 in April, right? If I live to be 100, I've lived a quarter of my life. That's a fucking scary thing to think of. People don't want to destruct themselves because they fear they lose themselves, but you're only destructing things that you don't need or no longer need, or a different version of that same thing, I will say that, fear. This is where I hate those money gurus, dude. It's like if you're not afraid to do something scary every goddamn day, you're not living. And you're just like, listen, there is a place for fear. Fear is not a part of you to hold you back. Fear does two things. It guides you, and there are different, like, I've talked about this before, is that there's different levels of things that make you scared or happy, right? Or like those are just the two emotions that I'm going to single out, right? That's one of the motivating things I watch on YouTube because of the workout. And there are things that make you scared, right? Like just like jump scares, right? Will scare you. Like that's still fear. But then there's also going after that job you want. That's scary. Those are both fear, but they're different, right? So in the same think about it in the same mentality, right? There's a fear for taking that step to your new job. And then there's a different level of fear that's like, I shouldn't do this. The danger signal, that's still classified as fear. And to a lot of people, they don't know the difference. I know I didn't. I still struggle with it, right? One fear is because hunter prey, and the other fear is failure. And that's very true. Like if that is probably the most boiled down version of that. But people don't know the difference. The people don't know the difference. We've gotten so deep into whatever life we live that they don't know the difference. But it feels differently. I know when I've done something stupid, something like that flares up. And it's like I think about like maybe one day I'll talk about it, but it's not going to be today. It's it's a lot, like, but it's just like, because here's the thing is like I'm scared to walk into the unknown. I'm scared to continue to stream. I'm scared to continue to go on the path I'm on. But it's a comforting fear. It's a familiar fear. It's something that I know that at its pinnacle that it will feel scary. It'll feel overwhelming. It'll feel like a bunch of things. The unknown is everyone's fear, which makes it comforting. But it's also just that like if I had to boil it down, like I don't know how my life is going to go, right? I don't know what step is going to, if I had I don't know who I'm going to marry. I don't know what my kid's going to be like. If I'm even going to have a kid, I don't know. Like, I don't know if my mom's health is going to take a turn for the worse. I don't know if my health is going to take a turn for the worse. But it's always, we think about the bad. You think about the bad, the bad, the bad, the bad, the bad. So it's just like, in a way, the best thing to do is just not think about it. Because again, like that's where faith comes in. That's where faith comes. It comes in to fill that void of help me, you know, help me, please. And you can like spiritual or whatever it is to you, find it. Or I hate to just say find it. Like it sounds so rude, but like look for it. Look for it, struggle with it, fight with it, criticize it, get angry with it, whatever it is, religion, the universe, yourself, whatever it is, find it, fight it, scream at it, tear it apart, break it down, rip it to pieces, burn it, like whatever it is. And it's why I tell not just you, VJ, but I'll tell everybody, it's like you'll figure it out. You will figure it out. It'll make sense. For some reason, it will. And it's like again, like I wish I could give you everything that would make it make sense, but I can't. But that's why, like, I find religion so fascinating. Like, not just that, like, I believe in it, but like, it really is just really interesting. If you want to like do it on like a historical sense, I really just there's just some crazy shit. Motivation on YouTube. I watched one of the vids. Training is training to change negative thoughts. Things people say to positive, like you don't do this good. I failed instead. This is just a lesson. I tried better next time. Exactly. And everyone's that's the other thing is that like when you came to me like asking like what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? There was no answer I could give you because I don't know what's going to make sense to you. And that's not just saying like you as a person, but like literally I don't know like what neuron's going to fire in your head to make that connection because I have a way of it making sense in my head, but I know it's not going to be the same to you. I do really like motivational YouTube channels. It's free. Those are great. Motivation is a great place to start. Anything to get yourself into a high, elevated state. Exactly. I had that phase. I had that phase too. I had that phase too. Um, and it feels almost necessary. And so like again, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and I genuinely believe that all of you will figure it out. You will. You will all figure it out. It's like the reason you're here is because you're figuring it out. Whatever you look up on the internet, whatever you search for on Instagram or whatever book you read is something for you. It might be but like the channel with anime characters that they use to motivate and help people become a better self for them. Dragon Ball Vegeta. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that shit. I love that mentality of like you see a picture of Vegeta of like a Dragon Ball character or basically anybody with like the most like alpha male physique you could possibly imagine. You're just like, I gotta work out. like, like those things are really amazing. Like those are really special. And I still look at them sometimes. And with his voice, the AI voices. Oh, dude. But realistic. No, I hear you. No, I feel it. I love those. And it's like it's all part of it. It's all interlinked. It's all laced together. And again, everyone's gonna have that space. Everyone's gonna have that step. Everyone's gonna have that part of their lives that will help them. That's where I'm at right now, and it's like I see the growth. It's like, but it's just like again, the most important thing is that you see it. I think it's pretty good. It is really good. It's fantastic. Like pat yourself on the back for it. Like be proud of those steps you made. And, you'll get there. You'll get there for sure. Like that's the thing. Everything remember things happen for you, not to you. I think that is a very important thing that a lot of people miss is it's why I kind of have my faith in the spaces that I do. When I changed my perspective of uh when I changed my perspective of why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? Why? And again, back to how this all started is that like I'll look back and be like, "Oh, that happened because I did because of this. This happened because of this. This happened because of that. I took that step to learn this." Like I never felt like working out. I knew I should work out, but after I found that channel and I recommended the channel, watching some vids and such, I want to do it myself now. just sure unsure how, because what I said earlier, of course. And it's so beautiful because it's just like, just because you discovered you don't know where to start, you have then given yourself a new place to start. It's so fun, like it's so, like how do you explain that to people who have never done it, who've never experienced it? By not knowing, you have figured it out. A new world. It is. And then every step beyond that is a new start. It's just like one foot in front of the other, just boom, boom. I don't. It's like, and it doesn't matter if you're stationary and shuffling your feet around, but steps are steps. Progress is progress. Never be ashamed of the little steps. Never be ashamed of that. You're doing it. Even when you're going backwards, you're going forwards. Like it's very special. It's very special. And you'll find that in yourself. You may even find other people that understand. You may find a spiritual awakening. You may find that, like, it's all you, you know, whatever it is. I do feel like you should, at the very least, just say thank you to who doesn't matter. Just be thankful for that moment that you are a part of. Because I feel like I think just even saying thank you on a lighter sense is that, like, it humbles you. I like it because they also say that you shouldn't be ashamed on what level you are in judgment, as long as you're growing. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's where I like the thought of thank you, like thank God, thank whatever, just thank you, because it tempers the ego, it makes you humble, and and then, like, there's gonna be moments where you're, like, beaten and battered and you just can't do it anymore, but you say thank you one more time, and it's just like, okay, I can do this, I can get through this, I can be me, I can be the better version of me, whatever it is. I know that I'm not alone. I know that I'm not doing this for no reason, and it's so much bottled up into one thing that is so special. And again, like, I thought about it, and I'm like, that's where, like, those motivation Twitch channel, not like motivation YouTube channels, because they're different. The motivation YouTube channels, I think, are good because they take concepts that are, if it's like a YouTube, if it's like from an anime or like a TV show or a movie, there's a reason for those specifics, right? If it's like I think about, like, in Dragon Ball Z Kai, right? Goku had to die to get better. You know, was it that the free anime character channels with realistic AI voices are better than I'll help you training with vids to follow for this price? Those are the people, like, that's the greed. It's greed. There's nothing. I think because true passion, true knowledge of a topic will be free. That is fact. No, I'm not kidding. The truth is free. It always has been and it always will be. If they are charging you for it on any subject, any topic, it's not the truth. There may be truth scattered within it, but the biggest lie of it is that you need me to get better for yourself. It's one of the biggest lies that anybody can tell you. Yeah, send it. And I feel like those anime channels are almost better than the real channels, because, like, alpha male boot camps. Oh yeah. And everyone had the one that the style of video that did it for me at the very beginning was the Ziz videos and the like the it's okay to be a weak man. Like those shit fucking pissed me off. Like I was like, nah, bro, I can do better. I can fucking do better. I can do better. I know I can do better. Ziz videos go hard. Oh my god. Ziz is like 100k subs, 302 videos. But yeah, everyone has those. Everyone has those people. Everyone has them. And don't get me like Ziz did it to the extreme. That was the thing is that Ziz was somebody who was like, I don't know if he was willing to die for it, but he sadly did. Send in your DMs. Oh, you got your Discord back. Oh, these are legit. Oh, dude, this is legit. If this is what it takes, more after 21 days. Hell yeah, King. That's what it's all about. And 2+ days of false charges. It takes a day to knock it down. It takes years to build it back. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it fell in a day. It's all it takes. But I fuck with that. I love again anything that gets you to like that that I like the only thing I think about is like the fuck yeah. Like yes. Like I'm there. I'm with it. I'm in it. Like I'm all about it. If whatever it takes. Someone asks why he does it. He also made a last Q&A. And it's one of those things where it's like it almost doesn't matter the why. You know why it's like it makes you feel a certain way. It makes you think certain things. It makes you proud to he agrees for the fame but not but who wouldn't. He wants to help others such as mostly. And that's the thing is that like you'll find those people everywhere. Everywhere. They're really it's so frustrating because they're almost hard to find because like all you get are like the money grubbers like going like, "Hey, buy my thing, buy my course, buy my class." Oh my god. I don't even know if he's still around, but there when I was learning to do like money stuff and trading and the economy, he agreed to the fame to spread his message, but he wants to help people. It should be it's usually the thing is that it's a consequence of doing the right thing, you know, or do it. It's like not even the right thing, but doing the thing that you believe in, right? Is it's going to take longer than you want it to. It's not going to be fun. Most of the time, it's going to be really annoying and it's going to suck. But if you truly want it, if you truly believe in the things you talk about and the things you do and the things you say and the practices you preach, you'll have a following of some kind. You'll have that way of doing things. And, you know, like I just watched I've been watching this show called The Chosen. Really good show, by the way. Really good. I just finished watching. It was just like all they were talking about was like if we had just charged people for his teachings, we would be millionaires. But that's why the messages hit harder. I do think it's good that he isn't like those and actually says he believes like fame and money so he can actually help people because of it. It the thing is that I hope those people just survive, you know, like and if they don't, I don't know what I don't know what their lesson, I don't know what their path is going to be, but there's something beyond it. I'll always say that. Always will think that. And it's just like when you want to do it for money, right? When you want to do it for certain reasons and purposes, mostly money, fame, whatever it is, you are going to run into some bullshit. You're going to just you'll find the truth. You will. You will find the truth, you'll find the answers, you'll find the people that make sense. Just watch a video of his channel after stream. He has a motivation about anything really. And they're properly they're like a lot of them are like 30 minutes, an hour. It's really impressive actually. Whatever helps you, man. Whatever helps you. For me it's always believing in something more than myself. Starting in January, ending December. He's doing monthly training. Hell yeah, man. I'm here. I had to feed the cow. Big mooer. It's just like anything that's preached that's free and that helps you is always a good start. You post a vid and you can do it at any level, no excuses because anyone can do it, no equipment. Can't do it? Go lighter. When I started working out, I just wanted to do push-ups. I sucked at push-ups. I would it's like it's torn because like I wish I had videos of like the first time I tried doing like push-ups on my own with my own. Like I could barely do one. And I learned two things is that like I'm not really great at repetition, like physically. Like I don't do well with lightweight more reps, but it really made me realize I'm like, okay, I can drop to my knees. Like I can make this easier for myself and I still found growth. And it was a lot of practice. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot of you and it's just like you're just like, wow, this sucks. I'm trying to think of just like the other one was like I really wanted to do dips. I couldn't even hold my body weight. I was so weak. It's amazing that like you can as a human, you can walk around like I was obese, right? Like January was 5 minutes jog, 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, 30 something else. That's the goal. It isn't bad if you can't achieve it. And that's a good starting point. It's a great starting point. He literally says that if you fail at the end of of January, that it isn't the end of the world. And you know, like from what you're describing, is that like it's really good because he's giving you an out, right? Some people like just when you're starting, it is okay to have an out. It's okay to fail and fall. Keep going, even if you fail at February. You just do it one day at a time. One day at a time. I have this with my mom, and I'm so proud of her. She's been working out for almost a year now, and there were times when she was like, "I fucking hate it. I'm not doing it." and then she'll come to me and go like, I did it, I did the thing, I really didn't want to. And it's just like, it's because, believe me, I've been working out for 4 or 5 years now, basically, like either every weekday or every day for a little bit. But right now, my routine is 4 days out of the week. And believe you me, there are days where I really fucking don't want to do it. But I'll still do it. Like, there's something that just goes like, I think Joe Rogan said it the best, where it's just like, you'll do it so much to a point where, like, even so for some people, it's like a day of doing it, or like 2 days, a week, a month, a year of doing it. At some point, your body craves it. And you will feel worse for not doing it than doing it, which is like, shit, man. I know, like, when I start working out for the first time, like, because I did a huge hiatus of like 6, 7 months when I finished my routine. Like, I was doing P90X and I finished it, and then I stopped, and I definitely felt worse after I stopped. Like, I definitely felt worse. And then it's like you get back into it and you're like, whoa, your body just goes like, yeah, like, sign me up, get me in that, get me in that. I wanna partake. Now they're deeply buried in the past. But everything counts. Everything counts. You saw the DM? Yeah, I did. I'll have to watch it later because I can't watch it on stream. But yeah, man. Like, I think this is a really special time for like people our age, like anywhere between like the ages of 30 to like 16, right? I said that earlier. DM what you think of it, faux show. And because like kids, like kids like us are like, adult. It's weird because we're adults, but we're kids. And we look backwards to try and see what to do, but it's like things are gonna happen that don't make sense back then. So they're gonna go forward. People need to do more good stuff. Good stuff is good for you. But they'll figure that out on their own. They will. They will figure that out on their own. You don't like I don't need to tell you that. I don't have to tell you that. That's the other thing. Is that like the thing is just like there's nothing I can tell you to like suddenly make you change and believe in yourself. And if something that I said just goes bing, like light bulb, like I'm not taking that away from you. Which is why I try and throw as much shit into the void as I fucking can, right? To the point where like I've thought about like trying to chop these into videos, but it also is just like it's more about the reason I can't chop these into videos and release them like this is because it's about the moment. It's about the here and now. What is the feeling now? What is this now? Because, and I get it, like you chop it into videos, and maybe one day I will. But as far as right now, this is it. This is what it is. And there is a piece of me that goes like, but think about the people who aren't here, or like the people who might want to hear it. And I'm like, I do think about it. It's a tricky balance. Everything will be. Everything has been and always will be and never won't be. Like, I want to read more. I want to lift heavier weights. I want to make more money. But at the end of the day, like a lot of those things that you thought were true to you become not. And those are that shit's weird because you're just like my relationship with the way I see money has changed very drastically since I mean probably like 16, 18, like doesn't matter. I can go back fucking forever and think about money, you know? But something shifted, something changed where I don't know where it's going to come from, but if it's something that is necessary to get me to the next step, I want to just be humble and accept whatever happens. I want to just be passive in accepting it, you know? And it's not to say, it's just like, what are you going to do if you need this? If you need that? It's just like, if that's what happens, that's what happens, you know? I'm not going to like it, but I want to try and be, remember, life happens for you, not to you. So if that's in my hand, if that's the card in my hand and that's what I've been dealt, whatever happens, happens. Right? It's the faith in the unknown. It's the faith to take another step. It's the faith through the fear that you can progress and do good things and be yourself in times not that are not just good or bad, but like when things aren't good to you and they're bad for you. I had to like crack my knee. That was but like when things aren't good to you, like I mean, we've all had a trauma of some kind, some way, somehow, somewhere. We've had trauma, and that's okay. It sucks to say that's okay, but it happens. If you survived it, if you lived through it, for a fucked up reason, it's for you. There is a lesson you wouldn't have learned without it, and it sucks. And there's no good way to explain it. There's no good way to say it, but it's just like it just makes you go, "Damn it. Why couldn't I have learned this lesson without it?" And it was never meant to be that way. There are like it is it's one of those things where you're just like it happened to you for a reason. You were chosen. You were chosen to do this thing, to either suffer and show to yourself or the others around you that you can do it. Right? I saw a video on Instagram that fucking destroyed me. It was I don't know if it was like a podcast or something. I don't know what it was, but it was God. It was a kid who couldn't have been more than like 8 years old, dealing with cancer. And this guy asked the kid, "Why? How do you feel about having cancer?" And the kid was like, "Is there a way I should like? I'm happy." And he's like, "Why are you happy?" And it was just because he was chosen. He was chosen to do the suffering. And he's like, "Why does it make you happy?" And he's just like, "Because my family doesn't have to have this. My sisters don't have to have this. My mom doesn't have my dad doesn't have to have this. I have it." And that shit fucking destroyed me because it's one of those things where it's like I'm reading the book of Job right now. Even if you're not religious, it's a fucking hell of a book. It's a hell of a story to just describe it starts in the most fucked up way of Satan tells God that you have a believer, a very strong believer, but that's because you've given everything good to him. But if you smite him and if you take everything good away from him, he will curse your name. And God kills his family, destroys his business, destroys his home, but he leaves his friends. He leaves himself, he scars him, casts immense amounts of pain onto him. But he never speaks badly of God because his friends were certain that he had done something either in a past life or currently that angered God, because that's the way they thought at the time. Like you have to almost put yourself in the mindset of these people. Of At the time of these books being written, a lot of it was because the just will get what's just. The unjust will get what's unjust. Everyone will meet a judge. Everyone will be chose everyone will meet or will face temptation. Everyone will face trials, right? And at the time, a lot of what these people thought was if you were a good person, good things were happen to you. So people would do good things but wouldn't believe in the good things they did. And for the most part, a lot of good things happened to those people, but a lot of bad things happened to those people too. And then it was the same on the other side. A lot of the bad people were doing bad things. Are you Christian or religious? I don't know what I am, but I do believe in God. I'm a firm. I. There's just been too many things that have happened recently in past that I'm like, there's too much to say. No, this is not a coincidence. There's too much going on. There is something going on. There was to find out that there was a reason for my suffering. Right? Is everything to believe in something more than yourself. And I try, and it's like a part of me tries to not make it so preachy because I know not a lot of people will accept that. But it literally just started one day. I just picked up the Bible because I started seeing Christian symbols on iFunny, and I always heard the joke of like, God will cast you down. He will smite you. He will send you in unrelenting pits of fire, but he loves you, you know? I always heard those jokes, but it wasn't until that you start reading that you believe that, like, wait a minute. There was always a reason for it. It was never out of nowhere. It was never unjust. And even the most fucked up things, generationally fucked up things, there was always a reason for it in some way. There was a reason for it, and it was just like, and like, I'm not at a point where I can quote verses to you. That's just, I don't know how people do that. I don't have that kind of memory. But it's so dumb because I can recite SpongeBob word for word, but I can't quote I can't quote verses. But like, some of these stories will latch onto you, and it's not it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like it's talking to you. Because like, I've read self-help books before. I think we all have. We've all read something or watched something that was like a self-help, like, get like to help you. There's no self-help book that has felt like the shit I read. Nothing. Nothing. It was completely specific to what I was reading. And if you're into history, right? If you're into history, a lot of it happened. And it's it's beyond what you could expect, right? A lot of it also didn't happen. But the thing is, right? Okay, let me paint this picture, right? I don't I didn't hear what you said when I assumed something about religion. Yes. There are a lot of things that are stories. Like the book of Job is a story. It literally is described in the Bible as it is a story. It did not happen, right? But some stories are literal, some stories are stories. The thing about the one thing. Okay, here's one that's like that is it's saying good strategy. It's like saying it's a good strategy to buy SPX when it goes up 1% because sometimes it did. Gamer, I'm a strong believer against God, but I thank Him for stuff when I'm happy. And the thing is, it's hard to thank Him when things are bad. It's hard to accept the bad things. But here's the thing about at here's the thing is at the time of when these books were written, of when these stories and scrolls were written, there was so much shit happening in this period of time, right? Okay, if you want to talk about Exodus, you were talking about Egypt, the biggest fucking civilization ever created, enslaving the Hebrews, the Jews, to then hardening the Pharaoh's heart with multiple curses. And you can say there's stories, but we do have a knowledge of the Hebrews leaving Egypt, right? And we know this is true. There was a stone found in Egypt that described the Hebrews as a people. You can look this up. There is a written account of Egyptian soldiers striking down, casting down ancient cities, but when they cast down the Hebrews, they describe them as a people. And you look at the book of Judges, the the Hebrews are described as a people without a king. And that's how they were described in Egyptian texts. It is one of the biggest discoveries of archaeological discoveries outside the Bible that confirm a story in the Bible. People only go to God in time of need, but forget when not. And it's a really tricky it's a tricky line to walk. But the thing is that like I think about the story of like the Ark of the Covenant, right? It's a box that can destroy cities, right? And it's a fucked up story. Like you're like, damn, why is God so angry at so many people? But it was more than the box, right? They called it the throne of God. But the thing about the ark was that if you look at it from the perspective of these people needed at the time, this was not just them, this was everybody, this was every religion, every pagan god, it didn't matter. They had statues, they had idols, they had things to interpret what God was to them, right? They had no idea, and the Ark of the Covenant was in a way, their idol. And when the Ark went missing, when the Babylonians destroyed Israel and enslaved the Israelites, the Ark has gone. The Ark goes missing. There's no reference to the Ark of the Covenant ever again in the Bible. It's completely gone. We have no idea what it was. We have no idea if it was even real, but people think it was. We don't know where it is. We don't know what happened to it, if it was real. But you also see at the time that this was true, that the king of Persia released the Hebrews. He held them for 80 years. This is true. There are actual accounts of this happening. And he released the Hebrews. And when they returned to Israel, it was destroyed. It was a pile of rubble and rock. It was uninhabited. The ark was everything was gone. Everything was gone. And when and then it's like they built their city, and then the Romans sacked Israel again, and they mentioned in great detail about what they took. They took a table made of pure gold, and they took their candlestick, the menorah, also of pure gold. And we know they did this because in Rome there is a stone carving of the sacking of Israel. So we know they did it. We know what they took. There's no mention of the Ark of the Covenant, right? There's just no anything. So you fast forward to what does that mean? Why am I so hell-bent on just like focusing on the Ark of the Covenant? Is because the thing about it, it was not just a shift. It was a shift in ideology. It was a shift in perspective to Change what you believe. Because at the time, it was so crazy to tell people at that time to believe in something that isn't real, that you don't see, that is beyond your comprehension. It was so foreign to anybody who heard it. But the reason, like, they called the Hebrews crazy. Like, why was your God not here? Why do you not have any statues of him? Why don't you believe, like, why don't you, like, why, where is your God? Why don't we see him? We have Poseidon, we have Anubis, we have Neptune, we have Mars and Ares, we have all of these gods, and we see them. We have built statues and monuments. The pantheon is the whole, like, it's like, that's where it was. It was to sacrifice and donate to gods. So where's your God? And at the time, there were prophets and there were people who talked to God, and those are up to interpretation, but you don't get anywhere until, like, you read Jesus, right? You read his story and his disciples. It is a book that you can call it the best story ever written, but it is like one of those things where it is just how how do you write something like this? Spread across at least 4 different books. You have the life and death of this person. Now, I can't believe there's even an argument to believe that there, not just, it's the miracles, right? Jesus of Nazareth was a real person. He was a real person who was executed by Pontius Pilate. There is a document about it. There were constant Roman squabbles about what to do. There were internal Jewish squabbles about what to do about Jesus of Nazareth. To be honest, if God exists, I think everyone is because of free will. Creativity and such is so all the power to create and stuff, You're thinking too big. Uh, God ain't real, and I really hate the practical ways to exploit weakness in the human spirit. But the principles they preach are good. I hate Christianity, but I love God. The thing is that it's more than Christianity. It's more than a name. It's more than anything. It is beyond comprehension. And it sucks to say that because not a lot of people will understand it. I don't fully understand it. The thing is that we live in a three-dimensional space, physically speaking. We are three-dimensional beings, but we see everything on a two-dimensional plane, right? Everything is flat. We don't see things like that. If I had to give any basic interpretation on what the possibility of God would be, is that it's something that sees things in a in a third dimension, right? Where what is the third dimension? What is the fourth dimension? It's time and scale and gravity. It's all of these things, right? To go backwards and forwards, to see endless lifetimes ahead. Because as far as time is concerned, we are drops in the bucket. We don't matter, right? To think of it on such a scale is inconceivable to the human mind. And it's not saying that as an excuse to not try and think about it. No, keep thinking about it. Keep trying to figure it out. Seriously. And I'm not saying, like, shoehorn God into anything that you don't make sense of. No. Keep asking questions. Keep trying to figure it out. The thing is that the reason I turned to this space, the reason I found solace in this space is because nothing felt like this. Regardless of whether or not God is real, his name is used to either spread love and forgiveness or fear and hate, and that's entirely decided by the goals of the humans preaching the name and the opinions. We're all gods, and we must create the heaven God took from us, so be kind and love, help another. No. So I'm going to get a... If the planet is round, why doesn't it look like an egg in space? the thing about it is I'm trying to describe I can't do it. I can't describe it. And that's like the limitation. It's like there's nothing like I've listened to like preachers and seen like media and everything. And no one it's just, you can't put it to words. And yes, cooperation is a part of it. And like if you want, you can even say like the Muslim religion, it believes in the same God, but their rules are different, right? Judaism still believes in a God, but Christianity believes that Jesus was the Messiah. You love Jesus, you love God, right? Those are the differences. Um, and Jesus is one of those really key figures in history, not just religion, in history, that was just like, there was no one like him. At the time, there was no one like him. No one. Everything he did was different. Everything he did was against what was traditional and conventional, and he died for it. And the thing is that for a lot of people, what they believe in is the apostles. They all died for what they believed in. They were all executed because of what they saw and what they believed in. And at the time, the thing is that as we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the future, we lose sight on how big that is. People at the time did not die for things they didn't believe in. They didn't. But the apostles all, I think Thaddeus was skinned alive. He was skinned alive for what he believed in. I think Jesus was the first widespread meme. People started yapping about this Jesus and started making stories for him or something. The thing is that like you can say that they are stories, but the four books it's spread across are people from who were there. And the reason you can kind of believe in those stories as far as like what's fact, what's fiction, is these people with their firsthand accounts interacted with him. They were at his table. They had well documented names, counts of people who were there and what was going on. I think the book of Matthew is probably one of the best examples of this because Matthew was a tax collector. Matthew was the lowest of the low as far as people who would be considered chosen by God. Also, how someone picks up on something being said. Matthew was a tax collector, and you don't become a tax collector in ancient Rome by being stupid. Matthew was one of the most intellectual people that we have a written account of. Matthew was very calculated. Matthew did things that made sense to the literal sense, almost like an autistic level, right? And he wrote down stories and firsthand words in great detail to the basic number. And then you have the secondary, which was John. John was supposedly Jesus's right hand. And John recalls feelings, emotions, and words that were spoken, right? And the thing about it is if these were fake, at the time we have ancient ledgers of censuses of who lived in each city of Roman provinces. And in I think the book of John and Matthew, they both describe the apostles by their names. And the thing is that if you look at old Roman censuses, the reason that some of these people have nicknames is because they were very common. And it's everything within it just falls into place. The thing is just like on a basic level, try writing a book. Try writing a book about 17th century France without using the internet, no way of getting any information, and try and write down 12 names from France and what was happening in France in the 1700s, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it to a level of accuracy that would be believable to somebody who actually lived in that time. To an extent, that is how archaeologists determine whether or not gospels are real. Because we have Roman censuses of these areas under Roman rule. Most people were fucking illiterate too. Like they couldn't read, they couldn't write, and so all of these people like were special in some way. To break bread with sinners was something that was absolutely not even remotely how you describe that in this age. We wouldn't believe it. The thing is that it would be something beyond our comprehension. It would be something beyond. That's the thing, is that like you have to believe in the unknown, which sounds crazy. If I We live in a technological age and we're thinking backwards, right? We're going to have to go backwards, forwards here, right? Put yourself in the position of what you know now, but at the time of Jesus. So 0 AD, right? Birth of Christ. Move on to 30 AD. Now you are under Roman rule in Israel. There are Romans everywhere. You're an Israeli, and every Jew is under. It's late for me. Good night, Mr. Jesus. Good night. Every single person, in one way or another, is less than a Roman. Period. There's no way to get around it. If you were not born in Rome, you are not a Roman. If you were born in Greece, you are a Greek. But you have no Roman citizenship. None. You are seen as a secondary person. There was even a law. There is even a law that at any point a Roman centurion can tell a Jew to drop his bags and carry Roman equipment. That was a law. They had to abide by it. If they said no, they would go to jail. It was a real law. And then now you have this Roman persecution. They are killing Jews for multiple reasons. Whatever. They're under Roman rule. They don't care. But the Jews have their own laws in Israel. They have their own way of, they have do not murder, do not steal, do not be an adulterer, follow the rules of God. And then shoehorn this guy who comes out of Nazareth. And Nazareth was a place that was like Compton or South Chicago. It was not a good place to be. It was a very rural, very open, very small community. Now you have this person who is wandering and born of a virgin conception, which is, again, you can take it's like how do you know? Whatever you want to believe, whatever you think happened, whatever, it doesn't matter. And not only is he walking around, you talk about the past, like this past that, but you would think about us right now in the future. We're getting to that. We're walking through this, but here's the thing. Fuck, I had something right like on the tip of my tongue. But the thing about Jesus was he was matching prophecies that were written in the Torah to a striking degree. Multiple different prophets had written about somebody born of virgin conception and would bring an end. And he would bring peace. Everywhere he went, he was different. Everyone knew he was different. He had a presence around him. He said things that made sense to people. And again, like, this is a very big community, like, of multiple pagan gods, multiple different civilizations, all at the same time. Multiple different kings, multiple different kingdoms, thousands of miles of territory, and this one person shook the world to its core. Not through war, not through destruction, but through his death. A martyr. Nothing. Nothing like it may ever happen again. It's so lost on people because, like, like, you also have to think about the things that were written at the time, right? People weren't thinking about it. Like, Romans were only concerned about self-preservation of Rome and growing their territory. That's all they gave a shit about. They didn't care. The Jews were focused on being more, like, focusing on reestablishing Israel. They wanted to get out of out from under the thumb of the Romans. And it's just like, you have this one person who is basically spitting in the face of both the Jews and the Romans, the two biggest powers in the entire Middle East at the time, taking the teachings of the Jews and interpreting them in a way that just is, why would God not want more of his children at the table, right? And I'm butchering it, It made sense to people. It made sense to the hopeless. The thing is, it's the silent majority. It was the people they rejected, the Jews and the Romans, and every civilization. It made sense to these people. It spoke to them on a level that has yet to be recreated and retouched upon. Seriously. The only reason I can somewhat understand why people chose the things they chose is because it made sense. It felt something different to them. It wasn't, you're a loser, you're a nobody, you're a sinner, you're a pagan, you're worthless, you are a second-class citizen. You are awful. Everything about you is terrible. If you were a Jew to the Romans, you were beneath them. If you were a Roman to the Jews, you were a monstrous oppressor. Everything about him was something that sucked. And it never got better. And then this one person, this one entity, comes from a place where they are nobody, they are nothing, and says, if you follow me and you believe what I say, you will be saved. And if you just, it changed lives for people. It changed perspectives on people. It changed the way they saw the Romans. It changed the way they saw their teachers. It was immeasurable. And you have to think about it like this, right? We think about it in the future of, like, oh my God, he healed people who were crippled. He healed the blind. He forgave the sinners. He forgave the adulterers. He forgave everybody. If you were somebody and you just saw someone who you know for a fact had been crippled for their entire lives stand by interacting with this person, this is where we think about the future, right? It's like if there was someone in your community, like your next door neighbor who you've known all your life, who's always been in a wheelchair, someone walked up to them and you watched it, just touched them on the shoulder and said, "Believe in me." And they got up and walked out of their chair. There are probably two things you're thinking. This guy's been fucking with me for his entire life. Or what the fuck did I just see? At the very least, your curiosity is piqued. Your curiosity has been piqued and you have no idea what you just saw. And if you look back on history and you look back at the things these people saw, they believed in gypsies, they believed in like magic, they believed in all these things, which we now think is ridiculous. But at the time it was a very normal thing to perform magic tricks and shit. But to heal people, because the other thing about it that was so amazing was that he was healing the unfortunate. Not magic, but actual magic. The thing is that when he gave hope to these people, these were bottom of the barrel people. Unforgivable people, right? Because at the time, remember, everybody who was crippled, everybody who was blind, mute, deaf, they were believed that their affliction was because of something that happened in their past or was something that happened with their family. That was something people genuinely believed. And this person comes up to them and heals them. And there are accounts of people asking, what happened? Why was this person hurt? Why was this person damaged? Why was this person... And the reason he gave was because they were chosen for a bigger purpose. To show that faith is more than the good. And it's an unfortunate burden, but you cannot have goodness and forgiveness without trauma, and we all know this. And on a bigger scale, it's again, it sucks, but it's something that has to be. And it's not something that people are going to accept when kids are born with cancer, or like or people are killed just like getting blown up in wars and shit and living like painful existences. It's awful. It sucks to think about. But they are there, and their faith is what it is. And that's the thing that people don't accept. But if you have faith in something bigger, that's what I'm saying. If you believe that there's some reason that, like, imagine your regular life and country alarm goes off because of war or nukes. But the thing is, I faith in the God Emperor of mankind. The thing is, I'm probably crazy. I'm gonna sound crazy but it's just like, you as an individual are going to be okay if you have the faith that you are going to be that person, or you are going to be stronger. And the thing is that the reason we can kind of assume that, you have to look for signs in different places. where we have a readily available information, right? We have all this ways of finding things out. The thing is that like I've been seeing like that doomsday clock, 88 seconds to midnight or whatever it is now. Um, remember what I said about you can't believe people? It's it's retarded. That doomsday clock is the dumbest fucking thing humans ever came up with. Because you want to know why? It's believed political tension. There is no reason. We have no reason anymore to fight wars over territory because that's what we do now. And we've seen with Russia and Ukraine that it's almost completely fucking useless. We can fight over resources, but guess what? We don't really need to anymore. We live in a generation in a time where wars are dying. In America, we averaged a major war every 20 years. We haven't done that. People don't see that. They don't care. They don't understand that, and that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Is it like those are the things that should make you see something else? Because here's the other thing, right? The reason that fucking doomsday clock drives me nuts is because during the height of the Cold War, during the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when everything literally was on America's doorstep and Russia's doorstep to destroy all humanity, the choice wasn't made by one person. One. Seriously, if you don't know that it was a Russian nuclear submarine off the coast of Cuba, which had one nuclear warhead on it, and it took all three captains to decide to fire it. Two of them said yes, one of them said no, and that choice alone single-handedly stopped the Cold War. It prevented world destruction. And we saw it again. We saw it again when Hawaii. Remember when Hawaii was under threat? When they said that North Korea had fired a fucking nuclear missile at Hawaii? Same thing. Is just someone on the trigger didn't pull it. You saw the same thing in Japan when North Korea they fired a missile at Japan. It was the same thing. We keep running into it over and over and over and over again. And it's like this fear and anguish and depression is purely because of your own mind. There's something more. These are the things that make me a believer in something more than this, because there is no good if you are truly evil, if you are truly yourself and you truly acted on your fear, you would have pulled that trigger 10 times out of 10. The first one would have pulled the trigger. It wouldn't have been a thought, it wouldn't have been a question. You would have done it. It's true. You know it would have been true. But why did they stop? Why did they stop? Oh, the pressure of destroying the world on your conscience. You'd be dead. You wouldn't care. You'd be fucking dead. You would have literally been turned into nuclear ash. Nothing would have happened to you. There is no human repercussion that would have happened to you. So why didn't they do it? Why didn't we do it? Because I saw, like, here's the thing: is that like I watched an interview years ago about someone who defuses bombs in Afghanistan, right? And he's like, "Well, how do you handle the pressure of being the bomb squad in Afghanistan?" And his response was, "Well, 1 second it's my problem, and if I fuck up, the next second it isn't." They didn't do it because we're in a simulation. I don't know if you've played Civilization and world building games, but I have definitely nuked civilizations in a simulator. And I know I'm not alone in that. I just here's the thing, right? I don't know if I'll ever have an answer to that question that I believe more than something more than this. Seriously, seriously, because it's. I always go to the culture/economic win. You're not leaving a better tomorrow for your kids. You're not leaving a better tomorrow. You're not leaving anything behind. You leave destruction, death, anguish, every piece of human history. That's why I don't believe it. I can't believe it. I believe that there are there are small scale conflicts. But here's the thing, we have been alive long enough. We have been a species long enough. We have been a culture long enough to see the error of doing it this way. We do. And the thing is it again, look back to look forward, it doesn't work anymore. How long has that fucking Russian war been going on? What, 6 years now? The lack of war changes. Dude, it's literally like the Western Front in World War One. They've made inches. Inches. I think Russia's lost territory over it. And what do you get? You get the whole world that hates you. People hate their citizens. People hate their government. All because of this one conflict. Because the political and personal opinions of people is more important than any land and any resource that you could ever fight over. If the world hates you, you will never get anywhere. Anywhere. And Russian civilians hate it. Ukrainian civilians hate it. They don't want to die over it. They don't want this. No one does. And when you have a media stream that is instant, you can literally see it the second it happens. There was the video of the guy the knife fight with the Russian and Ukrainian soldier. He threw a grenade at him. He saw that video the day after it happened. There's a picture of the guy watching the video. So just think of that on a massive scale. People seeing this instantly, every second. People don't like seeing bad things. That's the humanity of it all. That's the religion in all of it, is that people don't want to see bad things happen. And in my opinion, that is why the things like Jesus preached and what he said and where he went made so much sense to people. It's still the same. Humans don't change. They adapt. And when you have wars constantly blowing each other up, to even have not even, it's like we're gonna live to see the time when the people who are around for the two droppings of the nuclear bomb on a civilization are going to be dead. No one will have a first count recollection of what it was like when it happened, right? Then you might see something. So is peace. The thing that makes peace angry, or the thing that peaceful people hate, is that you have to be patient with peace. War is anger. War is anguish. War is violence. Peace is passive. Peace is patience. Peace is soft and caring. War is anguish, destruction, fire, fury, destruction. The hotter the flame, the faster it burns out. Remember. Correct. And guess what? We have a lot of really good things to look back on as far as war. You can go back to the dawn of man and still find war. If you say that we don't have enough source material to stop fighting each other, you're fucking dreaming. The only argument right now is that guess what? 2000 fucking years later, it's still the same argument is that the last bomb to drop and the last fight that's going to be had is somewhere in fucking Israel. And guess what? They're never going to nuke that place. They're never going to do it. Mm-mm. There's too much history. There's too many people. There's too much faith there. It's never going to happen. You're going to have lots of anguish. You're going to have lots of wars. You're going to have a lot of dead people. But they're going to keep fighting over it. That's where it's going to stop. It's never going to reach you. It's never. It's like it's not going to reach me. It's not going to reach Russia. It's not going to reach Ukraine. It's never going to reach you. It's never to the scale that you think it's going to. It won't. It's like if there was a tyrant who was actively like, can you imagine Hitler in the modern era? Like seriously, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen to the scale he was at. It wouldn't happen. The powers of Joseph Stalin, it wouldn't happen. He killed 24 million people. This is what makes it so difficult to have like you can't separate. I don't know. I'm just talking about what I believe in, what I've had experience with because at the end of the day, it's never going to be about the group. It's going to be about the individual. And you can only make change on a small scale, right? And that's really it. I mean, like I like me as a person, I like to separate, to analyze, to identify why this happened because this happened. This happened because this happened. There, right? And I understand it's like you can't remove a very influential person from history and drop them into the modern era. You can't do it because without them in the past, you wouldn't have a massive butterfly effect of things not happening or things happening. And I mean that's where like somewhere in like alternate history hub comes in handy because they can actually for better or for worse describe to you in some level of detail of like, what might happen, right? And I mean it's indescribable. For people back then looking to the future, it was indescribable. It was you couldn't imagine the future. You can't do it. Um I just know that I feel like I've been understanding things better. I feel like I've been piecing together my past better by accepting something more than me. A higher power if you want like just something more. and it makes me grateful. I feel blessed that I had that thought to make that shift, to make that change, to do those little things. Those are the things that you can talk about it on a bigger scale, and it gets overwhelming and unrelenting, and there's almost no answer that you can get that's going to satisfy you unless you yourself experience it. I just don't feel proud about our age because we do because of what we do besides technology. And I'm trying to think of like what I would say to that. It's so what do you do when everything's lost? What do you do when everything's been taken from you and you're sad and you're alone and you may even have everything? What do you do? And my answer for myself was I can't do this alone. I don't feel like I can live the way I live anymore. I don't feel like I can appreciate what I've done. I mean, in history, stuff got built, well, kept in history, and still are there. Now it's just tech and nothing shows. So what do you do? What do you? So then, what do you do? I believe that that's why there's something more. It just, I don't know if you can call it making sense because it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. There's no rhyme or reason for it. And I'm not trying to like swing you to a side or not. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm not trying to like I'm not a preacher. I'm not someone to convert people. I like people more were more happy before our age than now. Yeah, the term things were better when things were worse, but happiness is different. It changes with time. Things that made you happy before might not make you happy now. Things that made other people happy won't make you happy. It's a you know um it's more. It's just like I can't describe it any more than that. I do believe in the personal ability to change. I believe in the personal ability to figure it out. And however you get there is entirely up to you. And I've done it without God and I've done it with God and I know which side I'm choosing. It's not even a contest. I'm not even going to I don't even feel the need to defend it. It's not even close. I feel much more at peace. I feel much more content. I feel much more everything. Just and whenever I feel like I'm losing my footing, and I'm not saying this because things are good right now. Some things aren't really great right now in my personal life. And even when I think about those things, I feel content. because in a way I'm like I can feel though I can handle it. I can do this. And that's pretty much all I need to do. And I think about the things that like sure, like I would love to have more. I'd love to have excess. At least I think I would. But all I know now is I really do want to follow this path. I want to see where it takes me. I want to see where it goes because I have an idea of where it goes when it's under my control, and I'm not a big fan of it because there were things that caused me to fail over and over and over and over and over again, and then it never made me happy. It made me very angry. It made me sad. It made me just not a lot of great things. So I can't really put into words. I can talk for hours, but I will never be able to fully describe in detail in words that would make you see my perspective. The way I see things. No, I know. But I do want to like for all everybody here, anybody who finds it, anybody who hears it, I thank you for finding it. And I do believe that there is something that brought you here. I believe there's a reason for me to keep doing this. I believe there's a reason you're here. And it's for something beyond us. And I pray for you guys. I do. I genuinely do. Like it was one of those that's one thing that like I still am very uncomfortable with is prayer because there's so many ways it's just like, oh, you got to do it this way and do it this way and but I can't control when I hit these moments, which is why I don't think I can make videos out of them, but it is what it is. Um all I know is that where I am now is better than where I was. And I thank God for it, seriously. Like it is and the thing is I'm doing this God thing and this religion thing in my own way. And that should be fairly I feel like it should be clear with like everybody who hears me talking. I've never done anything conventionally and I probably won't for the rest of my life. So why would this be any different? I don't do it's like I never did it's like I've never been to church, never been baptized, never done any of that, but that doesn't stop you from believing, you know? And in my opinion and what I believe is that that's all he wants from you. That's all he wants. And that's what I'm like I'm willing to give it. And that's what I mean by like when you're giving up more than just yourself, you're giving up everything to give it to something giving it up to something more. And it's a process. It's something else, and I'm sure I'll get questions and like from friends, family, because like I don't know, but like the thing is that like this is not forced. This was not forced. This was not a forced conversation. This was not a forced dialogue. This was not a forced anything. This just it just was it was just happening, and you know that is the I feel like the only thing that matters. Yeah, there's no script. Oh my god, you think I could write something like this? You're dreaming. I can't write. Actually, no. I feel like I could write a pretty decent script. I don't think I could write something like that. But to say that I could, like, I like, brother, I can't, like, I'm serious, man. I think if you're a reader and you've never read like the Bible in some way or one of the books of the Bible, try it. At the very least, it's a good read. It's a really good read. It, and you want to know something we talked about earlier is it's free. It's free. If you look in the right places, it's free. Isaiah, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum. Where is it? Like, read the Book of Revelations, man. Like, that is, it's a hell of a read. It's a hell of a read. I hate to use the excuse. It's like, oh, it's the greatest story ever written. It's the greatest story ever told. But I mean, it's a hell of a read, man. Oh man, hell of a read. We have been. My throat's starting to go. This thing was full when we started, and it's almost empty. But you want to know the thing that I'm so surprised by, and I get surprised by it all the time. I realize it is how accepting everyone is. Like that's the thing that I always get really surprised, pleasantly surprised by. Um, and because I feel like okay, like let's be real, like let's just like I feel like I at least would just be like, oh, they're like that's weird. They're never going to hear that. They're never gonna. You know what I mean? Like I just am like, oh shit, dude, they're never gonna go for it. They're gonna criticize. They're gonna joke. They're gonna meme. They're gonna, I put assumptions on things, and I know I'm not the only one who does it, but I know it's all in my head. But oh man, people always put assumptions on me. Like what we just did. Like if I had to talk about the way that felt, it felt scary. You know, it felt scary. I felt scared talking about it. Um, but like I said, we talked about this earlier. Like I was afraid. I don't want to hide it. My issue is more than I'm unlucky or people misunderstand what I mean. It's a tricky balance. It is a very tricky balance. And the thing that I think about that helps at least is that like I can just I, I think about what we do on stream and what we talk about, and I'm like, dude, describe this to somebody who doesn't do it, and I'm like, I look at a camera and I talk to people about what I believe or what I feel. People won't do that with their parents, let alone like the internet, let alone like a void. Like I mean, it's slightly comforting, and hey Max, we're the void. I know, and one day the void will grow. I think that's what we should call the followers, the void. Oh man. Oh. And I just assume, I'm like, man, probably gonna have a fun conversation with my mom about this later because she has her own opinion about she has her own opinions on faith and religion and all that fun jazz. But I'm very lucky to have someone who understands. I'm very lucky because it gives me the freedom and the ability to express freely without being like weird, you know? And time will tell. Time will show that we'll see what comes out of it. But I like that, like, hey man, you guys seem to like it when I ramble. I like rambling. My throat's fucking killed, dude. Like, remember. All right. I've run out of topics. I want to go water my garden. It is very human family with each other, or were there 20 billion families that? Yeah. All right, gentlemen, ladies, dudes. My throat's killed. I'm gonna send you over to Watcher. I love you, fuckers. Kisses. Mwah.